Hello and welcome into a jam-packed edition of the Final Drive on DMVSTREAM.com. Jeremy Huber frantically getting ready for the show tonight, as it is going to be a good one, folks. We have checked in with a host of folks who did some big things tonight. Already 5 guests will be on the show with us. They will include the head coach of the Madison Warhawks, Lenny Schultz, their big win over Hayfield tonight to get a share of their conference championship. We'll hear from Coach Schultz. Also, Matt Griffiths, head coach of the Broad Run Spartans. His squad will win over Tuscarora tonight to clinch the Conference 14 championship. Old Mill, their head coach, Chad McCormick, will join us on the show tonight as the Patriots get a big win over Annapolis to clinch the top seed in 4A East in Maryland and claim supremacy in their conference. Calvert head coach Rick Sneed, a big win tonight. His team beating Lackey to move them up in the standings in 2A. And also tonight, Episcopal coach Pano Vulgaris, his team with a big win over Georgetown Prep tonight to go ahead and clinch the IAC championship and also keep their hopes for an undefeated season ongoing. They, of course, have the game next week against Woodbury Forest. That plus 100-year rivalry should be a big one, especially considering the Maroon will go into it with an unblemished record. If you want to hit us up on the show, easy to do. Go ahead and tweet us at DMVStream, hashtag it with the Final Drive. Again, that's DMVStream, hashtag it with the Final Drive. Well, let's go ahead and start right at the top. And interestingly, tonight, where normally all of our games are done by now, we actually do have one game still ongoing. Halfway to the fourth quarter, it's Good Counsel trailing DeMatha, but only 14-7. The Stags, of course, looking for an undefeated regular season before WCAC playoffs start next week. The Stags' top-ranked team in the area, Good Counsel, number 18. But the right now it is the Stags winning, but not by much, 14-7, as DeMatha able to go ahead and they have the lead now. But we will keep you posted on that one as we move forward in the show. Elsewhere, it was Wise, of course, number 2 in the area. They go ahead and take on Suitland tomorrow at 2:30 as they look for an undefeated regular season. That's Wise. Damascus gets tested tonight. The Swarman Hornets win, but only by 8 as they beat Blair 35-27. Big one tomorrow in the WCAC for home field advantage in next week's semifinals as number 4 St. John's hosts number 5 Gonzaga at Paint Branch in a 3 p.m. start. Elsewhere, it was number 6 Old Mill winner over number 13 Annapolis, 15-14. Annapolis hurt by 2 botched snaps on punts. Leads to Old Mill points, and they end up go ahead and getting the win. Elsewhere, it was number 7 Sherwood over Einstein, 49-22, as Sherwood clinches an undefeated regular season. Elsewhere, it was number 8 Quince Orchard beating Paint Branch 35-0. Number 9 Episcopal beats number 11 Georgetown Prep 17-7. Number 12 Lake Braddock beats South County in a shootout, as you'd expect, 52-44. Elsewhere, it was number 13 Woodgrove clinching the top spot in 4A West, and also an undefeated regular season as they beat Loudon Valley 48-27. Number 14 Oxon Hill in action tomorrow against Duval at 2:00. Number 17 Madison knocks off number 15 Hayfield 38-34. Number 16 South Lakes over Fairfax tonight 38-2. So Madison, Hayfield, and South Lakes all time for their conference championship, all beating one another during the season. Number 19, Spalding beat Gilman tonight 42-0. Elsewhere, it was number 20, Broad Run, clinching their conference championship as they beat Tuscarora 26-14. Actually, in that one, the Spartans, again, are your conference champions. I believe they tie with Stonebridge, but virtue of the tiebreaker, they go ahead and get the conference championship with that win. And speaking of Broad Run, we'll go ahead and check in with their coach. Had a chance to catch up with the head coach of the Spartans earlier on tonight, Matt Griffiths. Talked to him about his team's big win in that matchup against Tuscarora. Well, Coach Griffiths, what a heck of a way to win a conference championship tonight. You come back from a 14-0 deficit against Tuscarora. First off, congratulations on the win and the title.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and you kind of, it's strange. You know, we've talked before, I'm out in Loudoun County where you're located, and it seemed like everybody besides you guys this year at one point kind of got the mantle of, oh, this is the big team, this is the big team. You guys at the end of the ones left standing. How good does it feel to kind of be in this position after a hard-fought season in your district?
It feels great. I'm very happy for our kids. You know, they're the ones that believed in themselves and believed that we had the ability to, you know, contend for a conference championship, and starting back in, you know, last December, and they've worked hard every day since then. They work hard in practice. I'm really proud of our kids and the heart and hope that they play with.
Let's take it back to when Tuscarora had the 14-0 lead. Looking in your kids' eyes on the sidelines, did you see the resolve to say, hey, it's 2 touchdowns, we can come back?
Yeah, they were all fine. We're going into halftime, and they were all like, hey, it's fine. We just come back and play broad run football. In the second half, we'll win this. And, you know, that's what we did. I mean, you know, they had a really good drive to start the game, and then they had the blocked field goal that they returned for a touchdown. So, you know, they had a nice drive, and they played good defense. And, you know, so when you walk out, you know, you've really only given them 7 of those points. You know, you feel, yeah, go out with confidence. And just with the way we played defensively, and with having some of the guys we have on offensive playmakers and stuff like that, we always feel like we got a chance.
You mentioned those playmakers, and Meech Hembry, your guy, he gets those 2 touchdowns to get you back into the game. Talk about his performance tonight and all year long.
He was unreal tonight. They were doing some things defensively to limit his carries. They were basically saying that he's not going to be the one that's allowed to beat us by you giving him the rock. So when we ran our option game, they were daring our quarterbacks to run, and our quarterbacks did a good job. But, you know, ultimately you want the ball in number 2's hands, so we just flipped the script and put him at quarterback, and he made a couple pulls and did a heck of a job. And I think his first carry in the second half went for about 80 yards. Certainly seemed like that. There was a heck of a play by him.
What kind of versatility does it take to be able to take a kid out of his normal spot like that and move him over and say, do the job, and for him to do it that well?
Well, I mean, you're talking about a kid who, and I truly mean this when I say if you had a dictionary and it had the definition of a football player and have his picture, kid can play any position. He can play quarterback, running back, wide out. He can play safety. He can play linebacker. I mean, he's just a football player through and through. So for him to jump from quarterback to running back to quarterback to wide receiver, that doesn't face him one bit.
Coach Matt Griffiths, head coach of Broad Run, his team with a big win over Tuscarora tonight to clinch their conference championship. Matt, wanted you to take us real quick through the play that put you ahead, at least from the reports we're getting, a 4th down pass, a fumble, then a recovery for a touchdown. Walk us through that one real quick.
Yeah, we had 4th down, and we had a play where we were going to go verts. We had a little something else. We put Meech at wide out. And they were kind of focused on Meech, our quarterback. Found the receiver down the seam, and he was just fighting for extra yardage, and he was tangled up pretty good, and they fumbled, and then the other receiver who was in the location just scooped it up and scored the heck of a play. Our O-line did a great job giving our quarterback time to get the ball out.
And speaking of scooping and scoring, you get a defensive touchdown, a fumble by Tuscarora at the 10. Talk about the feelings for you. That was inside your 10-yard line. That's kind of this game is decided here, and maybe almost the feeling of where you were to where you ended up with that going the other way for the touchdown to clinch it.
Yeah, well, we're up 20-14 because we had a extra point miss, and so now instead of having that a nice 7-point cushion, if they score, they're going to keep the extra point and could win. We had them a third and long or second and long early in that drive, and their quarterback did a nice job of converting, and he did a nice job of converting on that play. And then they had a nice drive going, and our kids, like we always tell them, just keep playing hard, and good things will happen. And we were fortunate enough that a fumble occurred, and Liam McCracken picked up the fumble and took it to the house.
And one last one for you, Matt. You're into the playoffs now, obviously off a conference championship, pretty high seed. How do you feel about your team headed into the playoffs, especially in your region where not only are there some very good teams, they're from different spots where not everybody knows each other?
Yeah, I mean, the 5A North is a tough region. I mean, that's coming out of Conference 14. That's I would say it's maybe the most difficult conference in the state of Virginia. So we've had some success there. I think we're battle tested, so I like our chances once we get in the playoffs. And, hopefully we get to play some new faces,
Well, I'm sure those new faces are going to have to be preparing for you guys as well. Mr. Hembry and the rest of your crew, a big win for you tonight, 26-14 over Tuscarora to clinch the Conference 14 championship. Matt Griffiths, head coach of Broad Run. Thank you so much and congratulations.
Thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate it.
Matt Griffiths, the head coach of the Broad Run Spartans. Big win tonight over Tuscarora to go ahead and clinch the Conference 14 title. Again, this team already beating Stonebridge at the key win, kind of letting them go on and win this conference title. Another team to clinch a share of a conference title tonight, that'd be the Madison Warhawks, as they're able to go ahead in a ranked versus ranked matchup, knock off number 15 Hayfield 38-34 in a really exciting, thrilling game where Madison got a big lead, and Hayfield almost clawed all the way back, took the ball inside the 10-yard line before Madison came up with a big stop. That combined with the South Lakes win tonight over Fairfax, three-way tie in Conference 7. So again, those three, Madison, Hayfield, and South Lakes, all tying for the conference title. I had a chance to catch up with the head coach of the Madison Warhawks tonight, Lenny Schultz. Well, Coach Schultz, it was a wild one, especially late. You jump out to the big lead, but you're able to hold on. First off, congratulations on the big win.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It feels good.
Yeah, and I tell you what was good tonight was the performance of Landon Thomas. It's looking like, from the numbers I would pull up, about 269 yards, 4 touchdowns, and that was early. Maybe put some more on the board. Talk about what he was able to do for you guys tonight.
Yes, Landon is an awesome running back, and my hat's off to him. He found the holes, and when you give him a little crease, he's got a burst of speed, and he turns it into 6 every time if he can get loose. So I'm real proud of Landon tonight.
Yeah, obviously a big weapon you guys needed against an explosive Hayfield offense. You guys are explosive too. But speaking of that offense, you kind of went out. How were you guys able to jump out on them like you did? Obviously, they came back and made a run at you late, but how are you able to kind of get that big enough cushion to where you could weather their late storm?
We just found a few creases in the holes there. Our line did their job. We got a few going both ways, and early they were strong, and then they were a little bit, but we found the creases we needed to, and Landon made things happen. My hat's off to that line for doing their job early.
Now, we mentioned it, Coach, the fact Hayfield, as the good team will do, they came back at you, made it close late. You get the late stop in your own red zone, really close to the goal line from what we were able to see. Seth Wilkinson knocks a pass down on 4th down. Talk about that final play and what your defense was able to do to salt the win away.
Well, they just believe in those guys, play together, play team concept defense. They do their homework. They study. Yeah, they got some momentum and got back into the game. And, we never quit. We bend sometimes, but we believe that, if we keep the ball in front of us, good things will happen. And, at that point in time, you got to make plays. They know they got to make plays. And you can't sit back and wait things to happen. Go after them. And that's what they did, and they came through.
That they did, as you guys are able to go ahead. The Madison Warhawks with the big win tonight, knocking off Hayfield 38-34. I believe, Coach, this means a three-way tie atop your conference. Again, you'd like it outright title, but I would assume you guys are pretty happy to have a piece of that trophy, correct?
Absolutely. All three teams are very good. All three teams had very good years. South Lake's had our number. We had theirs tonight, and two or all three of us, somehow we might meet again in the next several weeks. So, I wish them nothing but success unless they play us and again, and hopefully we can knock one of them off again. And we hope so for the Liberty Conference sake. It will look good if we can pair up down the road.
Yeah, and one last one for you, Coach Schultz. You go to these playoffs, your team's playing well. Obviously, you're kind of in the top half of the bracket. How do you feel about your Warhawks going into the playoffs?
Well, like I told them all along, we set our goals at the beginning of the year, and that's to win the opener, win the conference, and win a couple playoff games. And we haven't won a couple playoff games in many years. And, it starts Friday night, and I told them they can celebrate tonight. We're going to study film tomorrow and get ourselves ready to go again at home. And we're not going to take anybody lightly. We have to play good, solid team football. And if we do that, if we do what we're supposed to do, good things will happen for us.
Well, some good things have happened for your team so far. Hopefully they'll continue in the playoffs. Lenny Schultz, head coach of the Madison Warhawks, congratulations on your big win over Hayfield tonight, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jeremy. Have a good evening.
Lenny Schultz, head coach of the Madison Warhawks, fresh off his team's big win tonight as they knock off number 15 Hayfield 38-34 to clinch a three-way tie in their conference. Coming up, we will hear from head coach of the Old Mill Patriots, Chad McCormick, also the head coach of Calvert High School, Rick Sneed, also Episcopal High School's head coach, Panos Valgaris, and coming up after the break, efforting to get in touch with the head coach of the Lake Braddock Bruins, his team clinching a Patriot Conference title with a win tonight over South County. That's Jim Poitras. All that coming up on the show. Remember, you're listening to The Final Drive here on DMVSTREAM.com. You want to go ahead and get in touch with us, do it via Twitter, at DMVStream, hashtag it with The Final Drive. Again, that's DMVStream, hashtag it with The Final Drive. We'll be back right after this. Looking for some of the best barbecue in the area? Well, then come on down to Monk's. Monk's Barbecue has all your favorites: delicious pulled pork, tender, moist brisket, and dry rubbed ribs that just fall off the bone, as well as specialty items like pulled chicken, pastrami, and Kansas City burnt ends. Add in delicious sides like Monk's special baked beans, smoked Gouda mac and cheese, vinegar coleslaw, and many more, and you can't get any better. That's Monk's Barbecue in the heart of Loudoun County, online at monksq.com. That's monks and the letter Q.com. And go to their Facebook page to find out more about their live music and drinks.
DMVSTREAM.com produces live broadcasts for professional, semi-pro, and amateur sporting events, as well as colleges, universities, high schools, AAU, and youth tournaments in the Mid-Atlantic. With a client list that includes ESPN, The Washington Post, Monumental Sports Network, CBS.com, USAFootball.com, USLacrosse.org, NCAA.com, the National Federation of High School Sports, and Georgetown University, among others, Synthesis Multimedia has emerged as the Mid-Atlantic's top provider of sports multimedia. Contact us today to learn more about streaming your events live.
Are you a fan of high school sports? Does high school sports attract the type of customers you want for your business? If so, then consider advertising here on The Final Drive. The Final Drive on DMVStream.com is a weekly show dedicated to high school football in the District, Maryland, and Virginia. We update scores and talk to the movers and shakers from Friday night's top games, and we preview the big matchups from Saturday's action. So consider being a part of The Final Drive. For more information about advertising on The Final Drive, contact Jeremy Huber at jrh0001@gmail.com. That's jrh0001@gmail.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to an all-new season of Top Plays here at OleMetSports.com and WashingtonPost.com. I'm your host, BJ Kubarulis. Now, as we've done the past 4 seasons, we're continuing our exciting interactive high school football show. show that allows you, the coaches, players, parents, and fans, and others, to send in your video submissions for ranking in our Top 10 style weekly show. If you want to see your highlight in this show, well, it's as simple as tweeting your boy. I'm at BJ Coop. You got to remember to hashtag it, Ole Mets. All right, you can tweet in your Huddle, YouTube, Vimeo, really any video link by Sundays at noon, and we'll consider it for use in the upcoming episode of Top Plays. Now, you got to remember to tune in on Mondays to see if your video made our Top 10 at OleMetsSports.com. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back into a jam-packed edition of the Final Drive here on DMVSTREAM.com. Jeremy Huber here with you on the Final Drive. Again, our last, for most teams, the last matchup of the regular season before we go ahead and kick off playoffs. A few teams still ongoing when it comes to the regular season. Of course, we'll hear from one team, Episcopal head coach Peno Vulgaris. His team, of course, has their big game against Woodbury Forest next week, the game. So we, of course, they'll keep going. But a lot of teams jumping into playoffs, be it either in Maryland, Virginia, public and private schools, D.C. We'll get you updated on them in just 1 second. Also, a lot of the private schools in both areas getting going. WCAC playoffs kick off next week. Speaking of the WCAC, they go ahead and have a big one tonight, nationally televised game, as it's DeMatha leading Good Counsel 20-7. DeMatha converting on a fourth down quarterback sneak, less than 2 minutes to go in the game. So it looks like the Stags are going to salt that one away, finish the season at 10-0. And then we'll see what they can do in the playoffs. Likely another matchup, back-to-back matchups against Good Counsel. Of course, the other semifinal will be the matchup of tomorrow's game between Gonzaga and St. John. So again, DeMatha up 20-7 late on number 18 Good Counsel, that one being played over in Olney. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the new scores that we have. And actually, let's go ahead and take a look at some scores from last night. A lot of the DC teams played last night. Wilson routed Ballou 52-20. It was elsewhere, it was Cardozo shocking Bell with a big upset 30-0. McKinley beat Coolidge 19-0. It was Anacostia downing Dunbar in overtime 20-14. HD Woodson over Eastern last night 60-6, while Theodore Roosevelt routed Phelps 68-0. One score from last night in Virginia, as it was Patriot knocking off Battlefield 21-10 to win their conference. Some Maryland scores from outside the top 20. It was Howard beating Appleton tonight 55-14. Calvert's over Lackey 17-14. We'll hear from Calvert's head coach Rick Sneed in just a bit. North County a win over Chesapeake 44-20. It was Clarksburg over Springbrook 49-26. Douglas beats Largo 52-14. Meade over Glen Burnie 13-0. Elsewhere, it was Northwest locking up their playoff spot with a win over Wooten tonight, 53-18. Northwest sneaking in the bottom part of the draw in the 4A West. But again, Jaguars back in the playoffs for another year. Northwood over Kennedy tonight, 56-18. It was Rockville over Magruder, 27-22. Seneca Valley beat Gaithersburg 25-13. Arundel over Severna Park 60-14. It was Northeast beating South River 38-20. Broadneck beat Southern 35-7. St. Charles over Leonardtown tonight by a score of 20-6. Elsewhere, some scores of note in Virginia. It was Stonebridge over Briar Woods 41-20. Stonebridge, of course, with their really tough schedule, some games against Westfield, other teams, they end up locking up the number 3 seed in 5A North. Freedom of Woodbridge with a big win tonight. They beat Colonial Forge 27-17 to lock up a home game in the first round of playoffs. Freedom continuing their great turnaround, what's been a really downtrodden program, able to go ahead and get a big win tonight. Osborne a winner over Osborne Park, 27-24 tonight. Elsewhere, W.T. Woodson over T.C. Williams, 34-10, while it was West Potomac over Mount Vernon, 45-14. Elsewhere tonight, it was Washington Lee beating Yorktown by a score of 14-10. Well, again, we talked about some of the games in the top 25, some very good ones today. Had a chance to catch up with one of the coaches who was in one of those matchups. The big one that decided the IAC title tonight as Episcopal, the ninth-ranked Maroon knocking off number 11 Georgetown Prep 17-7 to lock up the IAC championship. Had a chance to catch up with the head coach of Episcopal, Peno Vulgaris, just a little while ago. Good, Vulgaris, a big win for you guys tonight. You clinched the first IAC title for Episcopal in 10 years. Let's start right there. How good does it feel, you coming into this program and making the Maroon a force to be reckoned with once again in the IAC?
Well, first, I have to say that we played an excellent football team tonight, and hats off to them for making it an extremely competitive football game. But it does feel really good to see our guys compete and fight on every down and understand that each and every play is meaningful, and they were physical, and they never wanted to take a play off tonight. And even when things didn't go our way, they kept fighting, and that was the difference.
Yeah, most definitely. And that kind of was the key play of the game. You follow along with Mark Gianotto on All Met Sports saying how you guys get stopped on a fourth down goal line stand, but you force a fumble on the very next play, recover it for a touchdown. It's funny. Where does that come from for your guys to just kind of shrug that off and say, hey, let's go make another play?
They're resilient and they're persistent. And I don't consider that a lucky play by any means. That's you make your own luck, and that was part of our game plan to make sure that we're attacking their run game. And so that's something that we worked on throughout the week. And guys were focused, and that's the result of preparing and just making sure that understanding that after a play doesn't go your way, you can't be deflated. You have to keep fighting, and that was the result of that.
And you move on, and again, this was a back-and-forth game, as you mentioned, Coach, and late, your standout running back, Paris Jones, pops a run with about 3 minutes to go to kind of give you a little bit of a cushion in that one. What was the feeling on the sidelines when he broke that run?
I'm pretty sure that the guys were elated because that one obviously made it a two-score football game, and so that was an excellent feeling for the team. But as a coach, I'm locked in and ready for the next play on special teams, on the extra point and kickoff, and trying to get the defense ready for the next series because the game was certainly not over at that point. But obviously, Paris had a great night. He ran hard and forced a lot of tacklers to miss. And at some point or another, you knew he was going to break one, and that was the result of running hard all night.
Penna, did you give yourself a chance at some point after the game was over to give yourself that feeling of elation?
Yeah, it's starting to set in a little bit now, but football is football in the sense that, you don't have much time to celebrate. You got to get focused on the next one, and we have a huge game in less than 8 days. So that's the one that we're going to get focused on starting tomorrow morning.
And we'll get into that one in just a second. But, Coach, I've had a chance to talk to some other IAC coaches this year, and they've said it. This league has gotten better by a good bit over the last, especially since you've come into the league. Your program's improved. Prep has gotten back to where they are. Bullis, a quality program as well. How good is it to win a quality football league like the IAC?
It is an excellent league. There's no question about it. Every single team in the league has Division I football players, and there is no easy game in the league. I mean, you just look at our games against Landon and games against Bullis. Those were hard-fought victories, just like tonight's was. And there is no easy game in the league, and you can expect great competition each week.
And one last one for you. You referred to it, Coach, the game against Woodbury Forest, the game where everybody cares about it. I had a chance to go ahead and call it 2 years ago, one of my favorite games to call in the sense that there's so many people who just live and die by this game. How fun is it to kind of move forward into that game, especially off a championship, into a game that has stakes maybe just as high?
It's great. I mean, obviously, the guys have to be equally motivated for that one as they were for tonight's game, and we have to start getting the game plan in because they are an excellent football team. They have several Division I football players and the best quarterbacks in the state of Virginia, if not the best. So, they got a lot of talent. Their talent is a lot for them this year, and they certainly are going to be our toughest challenge to date.
Well, it's going to be a tough challenge, but there's going to be a lot on the line, and boy, will be fun to get a win, an undefeated season, beat your rival IAC champs. It's all on the table for you, Coach. Pano Valgueras, head coach of the Episcopal Maroon. Congratulations on your big win tonight over Georgetown Prep, and thank you for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Jeremy.
Big win in that contest. Another thrilling game. This one played down in Virginia, as it was Lake Braddock taking on South County. And this one, it was a wild one, as it seems to be these two teams get together. But Lake Braddock getting the win tonight, and their head coach, Jim Poythress, joining us on the show. Coach Poythress, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, glad to be here.
And, Coach, obviously tonight, a little bit of the Lamont Atkins show. By my count, 4 touchdowns, a whole lot of yards, and a big interception. Talk about his big performance.
Well, I mean, I just felt like he's the best athlete and football player on the field, and he proved that tonight.
And it's funny, Coach, you know, I've been had a chance to do some games with Michael Niebrick this year, and, you know, you guys always known as that passing type offense, but he's definitely brought a running kick to you this year. Talk about, has he been able to change kind of the face of what you guys do a little bit?
Yeah, well, he has, but it's really the offensive line that changes the face. When you have big, strong kids, and we do, they can open up some holes, and then you have a runner like he is, and Abe Mansoray, and, you know, our quarterbacks both run well. It's kind of a collection of the different type of people we have.
And obviously it's worked pretty well for you this year. You know, you talk about that as well with the run game. How important is it to have not just Atkins, but another guy, Mansoray, 2 real weapons in the backfield as opposed to one people can completely focus on?
Well, I mean, we could do that at any time. And like I say, our quarterbacks run well, and then we have some weapons on the outside. So it feels like a full arsenal, and that makes you less than one-dimensional.
Talking to Jim Poythress, head coach of the Lake Braddock Bruins, his team clinching the district title tonight with a win over South County in a bit of a shootout. And, Coach, you guys ran out to that big lead. They started kind of reeling you in at the end with the onside kicks. Was there any point of kind of that lump in your throat when they keep getting the onside kicks saying, boy, we got to figure out a way to stop this thing?
Well, I mean, there was some confusion on the interpretation of the rule. You know, are you allowed to fair catch? If the ball is kicked into the turf, can you fair catch? Is there any type of halo for the kid? Because, you know, it was full carnage. They were flying down and just blowing our players up left and right. And we never really came with a finite answer. But we were able to escape with the victory, and I guess that's all that matters.
Yeah, most definitely. Go ahead and get the 52-44 win in that one. Coach, after last year where they got you guys to the end of the season to clinch the conference title, how good of a feeling is it to have that coming back to Burke this year?
I don't know. We feel like, you know, the universe is back to its normal operating procedure, so we're pleased.
Most definitely. And Coach, first time we've had you on the show this year, you guys have the top seed in the conference, but it's funny. A lot of the coaches I've talked to from the old Northern region, they've all said, look, this is the craziest we've ever seen this conference where there isn't one team that just stands out head and above shoulders. Literally, you can go probably down to 8, 10 deep where anybody can beat anybody. Do you have that feeling this year going into the playoffs?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think that there are some very good teams, and they're all well coached. And if you don't bring your A game, you know, you can get beat. So we're kind of on guard for that.
And again, though, you guys have done a pretty good job of that this year. Only the one loss so far on the season, and the Bruins playing pretty well. Coach, one last one for you. How are you feeling about your team going into the playoffs where you're kind of running right now?
Well, I mean, I think we're pretty healthy. And, you know, you never know. You never know how the seeding's going to fall. And, you never, I don't even know who we're playing. So until I can figure that out, you know, I just feel happy with the win and celebrate that for a day and then try to get ready.
Well, Coach, it's worth celebrating. Big win tonight over South County, knocking off the Stallions to go ahead and clinch your district title and also the top seed in 6A North. Jim Poythress, head coach of the Lake Braddock Bruins, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations.
Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And Coach Poythress, again, we talk about it, Michael Niebrick, the former standout quarterback at Lake Braddock, that's a throwing team for years, but they've kind of added a new wrinkle, and also they've been able to add to that offensive line a little bit this year. And boy, it's looking good, and we'll see if that's able to help them out as they run through the playoffs. Again, Braddock looking for a state title, and you never quite know because, again, this one is, we've talked about on the show before, it seems to be wide open this year, but you never know. Maybe we'll see the top teams go through in a year where we don't think it's going to happen. It may just end up happening. So let's go ahead and take another quick break, and we'll come back. We'll run down some more scores for you, and we'll also hear from two more coaches set to join us on the show. Chad McCormick, head coach of Old Mill, his team with a huge victory to stay unbeaten tonight as they beat Annapolis. Also, Rick Sneed, head coach of Calvert, his team with a big win tonight over Lackey. We'll hear from them both, run down some scores, preview what's going on Saturday. We'll get you a final from DeMatha, from Good Counsel against DeMatha, and we'll also maybe take a quick look at any of the PowerPoint information we have for you, some of those straggling teams, anything we can figure out, we'll pass that along as well, too. Again, if you want to get in touch with us, do it via Twitter, at DMVStream, hashtag it with The Final Drive. Again, that's DMVStream, hashtag it with The Final Drive. I'm Jeremy Huber. You're listening to The Final Drive here on DMVStream.com. We'll be back right after this.
Down to Monk's. Monk's Barbecue has all your favorites. Delicious pulled pork, tender, moist brisket, and dry rubbed ribs that just fall off the bone, as well as specialty items like pulled chicken, pastrami, and Kansas City burnt ends. Add in delicious sides like Monk's special baked beans, smoked Gouda mac and cheese, vinegar coleslaw, and many more, and you can't get any better. That's Monk's Barbecue in the heart of Loudoun County, online at monksq.com. That's monks and the letter Q.com. And go to their Facebook page to find out more about their live music and drinks.
DMVSTREAM.com produces live broadcasts for professional, semi-pro, and amateur sporting events, as well as colleges, universities, high schools, AAU, and youth tournaments in the Mid-Atlantic. With a client list that includes ESPN, The Washington Post, Monumental Sports Network, CBS.com, USAFootball.com, USLacrosse.org, NCAA.com, the National Federation of High School Sports, and Georgetown University, among others, Synthesis Multimedia has emerged as the Mid-Atlantic's top provider of sports multimedia. Contact us today to learn more about streaming your events live.
Are you a fan of high school sports? Does high school sports attract the type of customers you want for your business? If so, then consider advertising here on The Final Drive. The Final Drive on DMVStream.com is a weekly show dedicated to high school football in the District, Maryland, and Virginia. We update scores and talk to the movers and shakers from Friday night's top games, and we preview the big matchups from Saturday's action. So consider being a part of The Final Drive. For more information about advertising on The Final Drive, contact Jeremy Huber at jrh0001@gmail.com. That's jrh0001@gmail.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to an all-new season of Top Plays here at OleMetSports.com and WashingtonPost.com. I'm your host, BJ Kubarowicz. Now, as we've done the past 4 seasons, we're continuing our exciting, interactive high school football show that allows you, the coaches, players, parents, and fans, and others, to send in your video submissions for ranking in our Top 10 style weekly show. If you want to see your highlight in this show, well, it's as simple as tweeting your boy. I'm at BJ Koob. You got to remember to hashtag it, Ole Mets. All right, you can tweet in your Huddle, YouTube, Vimeo, really any video link by Sundays at noon, and we'll consider it for use in the upcoming episode of Top Plays. Now, you got to remember to tune in on Mondays to see if your video made our Top 10 at OleMetSports.com. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back into The Final Drive on DMVStream.com. I'm Jeremy Huber here with you, and want to get you up to date on what's going on at DeMatha. DeMatha taking, at Good Counsel, DeMatha taking a 21-7 lead, but there was an injury on the field. Have not gotten reports exactly yet who it was. Don't want to speculate, but had an ambulance had to come out, trainers as well. So again, not a good scene there. Hopefully the young man is okay. But the long delay kind of kept the game going a little bit. Remember, it did start at 8:00 due to being on national TV. So that one's a little bit late, going to get a little bit later, and hopefully the gentleman will be okay that was injured in that contest. Let's go ahead and run down some more scores for you. Coming up in just a second, we'll hear from the head coach of the 6th-ranked Old Mill Patriots, Chad McCormick. His team beat Annapolis tonight, the 13th ranked Annapolis Panthers 15-14 for Annapolis area supremacy, also for top seed in 4A East in Maryland. Let's run those scores down right now. Some of these we've given you before, some of them are new. Let's do them right now. Howard, a winner over Athlone tonight, 55-14. It was Calvert over Lackey, 17-14. North County beat Chesapeake 44-20. Chopticon over Great Mills 40-6. Churchill beat Walter Johnson 47-7. Clarksburg over Springbrook, 49-26. Douglas over Largo, 52-14. Gwynn Park beat Friendly, 46-14. Meade over Glen Burnie, 13-0. Glen Elg over Centennial, 42-12. Long Reach down Hammond, 39-14. McDonough over La Plata, 32-26. River Hill over Mount Hebron, 42-7. North Point beat Northern, 49-0. Northwest over Wooten, 53-18. Northwood over Kennedy, 56-18. Poolsville beat Blake, 25-22 in OT. Wet Reservoir over Marriott's Ridge, 27-21. Richard Montgomery beat Randallstown High 28-6. It was Rockville over Magruder 27-22. Seneca Valley beat Gaithersburg 25-13. Arundel over Severna Park 60-14. Northeast down South River 38-20. Broadneck over Southern 35-7. Broadneck clinching the 4th spot in 4A East in Maryland. They'll play Old Mill in the playoffs next week. St. Charles over Leonardtown 20-6. Thomas Stone beat Huntingtown 12-7. It was Watkins Mill over Wheaton 37-21. Patuxent beat Westlake 49-14. I believe that Patuxent with that win clinches the top spot in their in 2A. In their region in 2A, that would be 2A East. Not 2A East. That would be 2A South. Patuxent should be your top seed. Wild Lake a winner tonight over Oakland Mills by a score of 35-25. We'll get you up to date on some more Virginia scores in just a bit, but we talked about the games in Maryland, the most important of them all tonight between two Maryland teams. That would be number 6 Old Mill beating number 13 Annapolis tonight, 15-14. Patriots taking advantage of 2 botched punt snaps to lead the points in that contest. Had a chance to catch up with the head coach of the Old Mill Patriots earlier on tonight. That'd be Chad McCormick after his team's big win over Annapolis. Well, Coach McCormick, they talk about heart of a champion, and when your guys were down 14-0 in the second half, I'm sure there was probably, at least in the stands behind you, maybe some gloomy faces, but boy, your guys able to find a way to win tonight. First off, congratulations on the win. And how are you guys able to kind of dig deep and take advantage of some luck to get the win tonight?
Through that point, throughout the game, we faced a lot of adversity. We moved the ball at some times throughout the first half, and then we struggled a little bit, came up short, had some penalties that hurt us, and just got ourselves off schedule a little bit. But, when we went down 14-0, it was still a struggle offensively, and our defense just played phenomenally. They kept us in that football game. They gave up 2 scores, but that's probably a little more so of us not doing great things offensively. But for them staying there, and then we were fortunate. An error, a special teams error from Annapolis, the snap went over the punter's head, which led to a safety, kicked it out of the back of the end zone, and that sort of lit a spark. But our kids, overall, mentality-wise, they handled the adversity really well. And we talk about finding a way to win here at Old Mill. And those guys, some of them hadn't been in a game like this yet where we had to come back, and we actually were successful and won the game. So I'm really proud of them.
Yeah, Coach. I mean, how tough is it for a program like yours to, again, you're such a good team. You have so many games end up being lopsided by the end of it. It's almost like they say sometimes when you play a team like that, you just want to get them late and have them doubting themselves. Is there ever a time you kind of have to kind of give that to the guys, say, hey, it's just a game. Let's go play. We're still the good team. Or is there a problem there trying to keep that doubt out of their heads when they say, hey, most of these games haven't been close all year?
Yeah, and that's one. You're 100% right there. I mean, it's really a credit to our kids. We can only, as coaches, we've been in some really adverse games before where we've had to come back and we've had success, and probably more of them than, you know what I mean, where somebody didn't have success even on the better side of things most times. So as coaches, and, you know, sometimes they get to talk to former players, they can draw on that experience. But when you're in that moment, they have to believe that they can do that. And our kids really did a great job. They stayed positive. Sideline, you know, they believed that they could find a way to make a play and find a win, and then we were able to.
And, Coach, you look at this one tonight, you get the Cyrus Gay touchdown. After you got the safety, you get to 14-8, and then you go and hit the big play. Blaze Fisher hitting Ja'Cory Cannon for a 56-yard touchdown. Take us through that play, especially with it coming with only 3 minutes and change left on the clock.
Yeah, I don't know. That was either a third or it might have been a fourth down play. I'm not quite sure looking back at it, but it was something we split out our tight end who was drawing some attention, Devin Purvis. And, you know, it was after a timeout, so we were able to go out there and talk to the offensive line. You know, most of our stuff passing game-wise, we're a play-action team or we're a quick passing game team. You know, so we don't spend a ton of time in pass protection because we like to run the ball a lot. And, you know, I went out there, talked to the guys, and told them it's a longer play down the field. We needed some time. So we ran a dig with our tight end and the post over the top. And I think our tight end drew a little bit of attention from the safety, and we were able to get a win on the post. It was just a great ball. It was a ball that I think just it felt like it hung in the air forever. It's like, please, let's go catch this football. And it dropped perfectly in full stride, and we were able to go score the touchdown. And then my kicker had some struggles to maybe miss the field goal. It was only our second field goal attempt of the year, and it's unfortunate the second one missed. We only missed an extra point, which isn't very characteristic. So that made it 14-14 when we after that post, and he was able to go in and kick the extra point, stretch it out to 15-14. So I'm really proud of how he bounced back after that night.
And Annapolis would get the ball back with that time left on the clock, and you guys shut them down with about 90 seconds to go. Talk about that last stand by your defense.
Yeah, our defense did a great job getting pressure. I think we had a sack in that series or what led to an intentional grounding because of the pressure from our defensive line and linebackers. And the secondary, you know, they did enough to in front of them and make plays on the ball. You know, it was just huge. A lot of excitement that time. We ended up getting the ball back. And we were able to run the clock out as close. We were probably as close at the end where we would have had to try to take a knee on fourth down or back it up, waste a few seconds of the clock, but the clock expired, and we were able to get out with the victory.
And, Coach, this gives you your second straight 10-0 regular season. The feelings right now for your program to be able to do that in back-to-back campaigns.
Yeah, I mean, it's phenomenal. We play tough competition here in Anne Arundel County, and to be able to do that 2 years in a row is great. You know, we've got to enjoy that for the night, and then we're coming in tomorrow to start preparing for next week. I believe we're playing Broadneck again, which we definitely don't want to look past anybody. I know how tough of a football team Broadneck is. I mean, can't look at the success we had in Week 8 against them. We've got to move forward and get a great game plan prepared for Broadneck on Friday.
And Chad McCormick, head coach of the Old Mill Patriots, they beat Annapolis tonight. And, Coach, we'll get you out on this one. Obviously, last year, Broadneck knocks you off. You go into that one, you playing them. There's obviously the leftover from last year, plus the fact that Annapolis takes you guys down to the wire tonight. Do you think there's any way your guys don't have their A game coming out next week against the Bruins?
No, I think our guys are going to be ready to play that football game. I'm excited to get another chance to play them again. You know, definitely going to be a tough game, I'm sure, but our guys are going to be hungry for that football game.
And, of course, you know, you're out there in Anne Arundel County where you seem to see the teams that you play in district play all year long. But you know what? I'm sure you're in love with the position you're in right now. The top seed out of 4A East, it's the Old Mill Patriots. Their head coach, Chad McCormick, after a big win tonight, knocking off Annapolis 15-14. Coach McCormick, thank you so much and congratulations.
Thank you, Jeremy. Have a great night.
And Coach McCormick's team, again, clinching the number one seed out of 4A East in Maryland. Again, that's where they were last year. They got beat by Broadneck. They will get the Bruins again. We'll see if the Patriots can go ahead and get that win, and maybe they'll get the winner of North Point and Annapolis, and it could be another good one. Annapolis, probably not too sad about their performance. Had a good chance to win tonight. But again, if you're talking to Nick Good-Malloy, the head coach over at the Panthers, I'm sure he would say I'd rather have the second win, the playoff win, than the one tonight. Let's take a look at some other scores from Virginia just into us. Central Woodstock a winner tonight over George Mason 21-0. Centerville beat Robinson 14-7. Elsewhere, it was Brentsville over Culpeper 45-19. Tigers with a good chance to make some noise in their playoffs. Dominion, big win tonight over Parkview 57-26. Believe that lets the Titans quite possibly grab a bye in the first round of their playoffs. Falls Church winner over Stewart 44-19. Hilton beats Forest Park 34-17 as they'll go ahead and, at least according to the Washington Post, all but clinch a playoff spot. Champ win over Freedom South Riding 31-7. It was Heritage over Loudoun County tonight, 37-14. Marshall beat Jefferson 48-13. Langley over McLean 38-10. Oakton over Herndon 45-14. That should give the Cougars a playoff spot, that win. Elsewhere, Potomac Falls a winner over Edison 49-0. Potomac of Virginia beat Stafford 34-14. WT Woodson over TC Williams 34-10. Lee beat Wakefield 33-14. West Potomac routs Mount Vernon 45-14. West Springfield over Annandale 21-7. That could hurt the Adams. Elsewhere, it was Westfield over Chantilly 49-21. Woodbridge big over Garfield and their disappointing season 41-0. While it was Washington Lee beating Yorktown tonight by a count of 14-10. That clinches Washington and Lee, gives them a playoff spot, a thrilling last-second win in that contest. That win over Yorktown ends up giving a long pass with a few seconds left, ends up giving Washington Lee the win. They go ahead and clinch the playoff spot tonight. A big win with a last-second victory to go ahead and get into the playoffs. The Calvert will be headed to the playoffs. The Cavaliers with their win tonight over Lackey. Coming up after this, we'll check in with their coach, Rick Sneed. We will also take a look at tomorrow's action, and we'll quickly run down a little bit of what we know about the playoffs. It's all coming up right after this here on The Final Drive on DMVSTREAM.com.
Looking for some of the best barbecue in the area? Well, then come on down to Monk's. Monk's Barbecue has all your favorites: delicious pulled pork, tender, moist brisket, and dry rubbed ribs that just fall off the bone, as well as specialty items like pulled chicken, pastrami, and Kansas City burnt ends. Add in delicious sides like Monk's special baked beans, smoked Gouda mac and cheese, vinegar coleslaw, and many more, and you can't get any better. That's Monk's Barbecue in the heart of Loudoun County, online at monksq.com. That's monks and the letter Q.com. And go to their Facebook page to find out more about their live music and drinks.
DMVSTREAM.com produces live broadcasts for professional, semi-pro, and amateur sporting events, as well as colleges, universities, high schools, AAU, and youth tournaments in the Mid-Atlantic. With a client list that includes ESPN, The Washington Post, Monumental Sports Network, CBS.com, USAFootball.com, USLacrosse.org, NCAA.com, the National Federation of High School Sports, and Georgetown University, among others, Synthesis Multimedia has emerged as the Mid-Atlantic's top provider of sports multimedia. Contact us today to learn more about streaming your events live.
Are you a fan of high school sports? Does high school sports attract the type of customers you want for your business? If so, then consider advertising here on The Final Drive. The Final Drive on DMVStream.com is a weekly show dedicated to high school football in the District, Maryland, and Virginia. We update scores and talk to the movers and shakers from Friday night's top games, and we preview the big matchups from Saturday's action. So consider being a part of The Final Drive. For more information about advertising on The Final Drive, contact Jeremy Huber at jrh0001@gmail.com. That's jrh0001@gmail.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to an all-new season of Top Plays here at OleMetSports.com and WashingtonPost.com. I'm your host, BJ Kubarulis. Now, as we've done the past 4 seasons, we're continuing our exciting interactive high school football show that allows you, the coaches, players, parents, and fans, and others, to send in your video submissions for ranking in our Top 10 style weekly show. If you want to see your highlight in this show, well, it's as simple as tweeting your boy. I'm at BJ Koob You got to remember to hashtag it, Ole Mets. All right, you can tweet in your Huddle, YouTube, Vimeo, really any video link by Sundays at noon, and we'll consider it for use in the upcoming episode of Top Plays. Now, you got to remember to tune in on Mondays to see if your video made our top 10 at allmetsports.com. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back into the final drive here on DMVSTREAM.com. I'm Jeremy Huber. Of course, we have a final now in Olney as number 1 DeMatha beat number 18 Good Counsel 21-7 to get to the Stags will clinch their first undefeated regular season since 2009 with that win. You think about it, 4 straight WCAC conference titles. That's what they're gunning for. And again, but think the Stags have had an undefeated regular season since then. Pretty impressive accomplishment by Elijah Brooks' staff. Speaking of Coach Brooks, he told the Washington Post after the game that Marcus Minor, the player who was injured in that game tonight, told his team that the Minor will be okay. He was taken to Montgomery General Hospital. Minor was carted off the field late in the game. That's some good news. Hopefully that'll be the case, and Marcus Minor will be just fine for the Stags. Of course, they had a big game in Maryland tonight. Had another big game a little bit farther south, as it was Calvert with a 17-14 win over Lackey. Locks up a home game in the playoffs for them next week. Had a chance to catch up with the head coach of the Calvert Cavaliers, Rick Sneed. Talked to him about his team's big win tonight over Lackey. Well, Coach Sneed, obviously tonight's matchup against a quality team in Lackey, you get down early, and all added to that, they were honoring their 1986 championship team, so a lot going against you as you were on the road, but your guys able to pull through. First off, congratulations, and I guess the first question is, how'd you guys do it?
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. We play great defense. I mean, when you can hold Malik Burns and their offense to just 2 big plays, that's a significant advantage to our side. So our kids play great defense, and we were able to control the ball up front on the offense side of the ball, and fortunate enough to not have any major turnovers or costly errors that would put us in bad field position. So we were able to pull out a good win tonight.
Yeah, you took it back over, the lead back over before the half, and then you kind of held on toward the end. Who are some guys that stood out for you on the offensive side of the ball?
I'm sorry, go ahead and say that again.
Who are some of the guys that stood out for you on the offensive side of the ball?
Well, we've got some great running backs, and Shamar stood up and played so hard for us on defense that he had some great critical carries. Levi had some great critical carries, but at the end, it was Jeremiah Long, who at the beginning of the season suffered some injuries that kind of put him behind, coming through, number 20, and really capitalizing and making some big runs for us there at the end to kind of keep that drive moving so we can kick that field goal to go up.
And anytime you got to put it on a field goal late in the game, I'm sure as a coach, it kind of puts your stomach in knots a little bit as a high school coach. But how are you feeling when you line that one up?
I mean, we've got a kicker that kicks. And our kicking game has been a little up and down this year. And, our kicker is enduring through some back injuries. And we brought up another guy who's a soccer player is kind of helping us out too. And so, they work at it, but you never know how the kid's going to feel each day. So, that close to the end zone, not sure if we could get it punched in. Didn't know if we were going to get inside the red zone again. We needed to just get some points on the board. And so figuring we had a good chance to make it. And so we were fortunate enough that the kick went through and put us up by 3, and that was enough to win the ball game.
Yeah, and Coach Sneed, late in the game, you get a defensive stand to halt Lackey, and then you come back and get a late 4th and inches on a quarterback sneak. Does that kind of speak to the toughness of your team in those late game situations, both mental and physical, to get plays when you need them to salt the game away?
That's huge. I mean, because, for us, we're a team that's been in the playoffs but last year was the first time in 13 seasons. So to get back here, it was important. But, for our kids to go out and solidify a big win like this was even bigger and even more important because it gives us a lot of confidence going to the next week in the playoffs. And, when you're down there 4th and 1 and Lackey's measured up, I mean, they've got everybody stuffed in a box. They're huge and strong up front. It was a daunting task. And taking nothing away from our quarterback, who's arguably bigger than a couple of our linemen, does a good job of working it and getting the extra inches or 2 that we need for the first down. So pretty proud of our guys in the trenches to get that done for us.
Now, a quick note from the game, Proctor, one of their star players, goes out early in the matchup. Did you see any change on either sideline after that happened, or was it kind of just everyone just kept on playing their game, at least on your side of the ball?
They have so much skill and so many athletes in the field that, Proctor's an unbelievable ball player. And, obviously when he's not on the field, they're going to miss his presence. But for us, we've got to make sure that we account for everybody. And whether it's him or somebody else, there's still somebody that we've got to make sure we block and execute our offense against. So, we were just, again, fortunate enough to go out there and play well enough to beat, a team that's got just a whole bunch of good players and a good coach team, and Coach Lush and his staff who does a fine job each year with their guys.
Coach Snead, I'm sure they're still breaking down the PowerPoints, and you probably know more than I do as I'm covering a few games tonight. But the one thing we do know is you guys are set to host a playoff game, I believe the first time in 14 years. How important is that to your program and to the Calvert community at large?
Man, I'll tell you what, you've done your homework. This is a huge opportunity for us. The last time we were in the playoffs and played at home was when I was a coach the first time as an assistant coach back in 2002. And so to be back in this atmosphere and to bring it back to our community is just an exciting time for us all. We've got a great community behind us. We've got great student sections. We got a wonderful team. And it's a really cool, opportunity. And the atmosphere is always better when you're getting to the end of the season and you're winning and you're playing a game that matters. There is no next week unless you win this game. So you're going to get the best effort from your opposition, and your team's going to give the best effort. And so, in that night, the best team's going to win.
Coach, do you know who you might be playing next week yet, or is it still too early to tell?
No, right now I think it's Gwynn Park. It looks like, we come out of this situation with the Tucson tied with the same points, I believe, if the math's right. And we needed Leonardtown to win in order for us to have enough points to pass Patuxent. And Leonardtown did not win tonight. And so we have a tie with Patuxent. And then since Patuxent beat us head-to-head, Patuxent will get the number 1 seed. And then we'll get number 2. And then we play Gwynn Park, which is number 3. And then I think Lackey becomes number 4. I think it's the way it works out.
And, Coach, if it is that matchup with Gwynn Park, unlike you guys, Patuxent and Lackey, who all see each other during the season, pretty familiar, Gwynn Park a little bit outside your area. Is there a little bit of difference taking on a team that maybe you're not as familiar with?
I tell you what, it's kind of a relief to be able to play somebody different. We were not excited playing Lackey 2 weeks in a row, which could have easily happened depending on the way the points fell. We knew it was going to be a physical matchup tonight, and to have to go play Lackey 2 weeks in a row with their big guys and their strength. We just didn't know how we were going to fare in this game and how long it would take for us to come back. So we get a little rejuvenated to go out there and play somebody a little different. It's exciting to do that too. We love SMAC football, but I'm telling you, all the SMAC teams will enjoy going out and being able to play somebody else outside the conference.
Well, it should be interesting no matter who it is and where it is. We know it's going to be at home on your field at Calvert. Coach Rick Snead, head coach of Calvert, a big win over Lackey tonight. Congratulations, and thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate the coverage.
And that'll do it for Coach Rick Snead, his team again into the playoffs as well. Lots of playoff team coaches we talked to today. We'll run them all down in a second as we get ready to wrap the show up. Remember, again, on the show tonight, lots of coaches, but let's run down the top 20 for you real quick. Number 1, DeMatha, winner tonight over Good Counsel, 21-7. Number 2, Wise plays tomorrow against Suitland at 2:30. Big game. Wise going for the undefeated season. Suitland wins it, probably gets into the playoffs. It's going to be a tough task against a very good Wise team. Number 3, Damascus challenged tonight against Blair, but they beat the Blazers 35-27. Number 5, Gonzaga at number 4, St. John's tomorrow. 3 p.m. start at Paint Branch. Winner of that one host between the two teams next week in the WCAC semis. Number 6, Old Mill beat Annapolis 15-14. Old Mill, the top seed in Maryland 4A East, that is. Number 7, Sherwood over Einstein, 49-22. Sherwood clinches the top spot in 4A North in Maryland. Number 8, Quince Orchard over Paint Branch, 35-0. The Cougars will be the top seed in 4A West in Maryland. Number 9, Episcopal over number 11, Georgetown Prep, 17-7. Maroon win the IAC championship with that victory tonight. Number 12, Lake Braddock. They beat South County 52-44. The Bruins clinched their conference title with that win tonight over South County. Elsewhere, it was number 13, Woodgrove over Loudoun Valley, 48-27. The Wolverines will be your top seed in 4A West in Virginia. Number 14, Oxon Hill at Duval tomorrow. Big one there for Oxon Hill as a win. Definitely guarantees them the top spot in 3A South. They got it really anyway, but we're trying to keep their undefeated season alive against a team a little higher than them in Duval 4A squad. Number 17, Madison. They beat number 15, Hayfield, 38-34, while number 16, South Lakes beat Fairfax 38-2. So Madison, Hayfield, and South Lakes all tie for their conference title. Number 19, Spalding over Gilman tonight, 42-0. Well, number 20, Broad Run beat Tuscarora 28-14 as Broad Run wins their conference title in the Conference 14. That's going to go ahead and do it for the show. Remember, if you want to get up to date on everything going on with the playoffs, All Met Sports is your place. Check them out. They will be able to get you up far better than I can and get you up to date on everything going on when it comes to the playoffs, who's in, who's out. They will let you know. Also, want to thank all of our guests on the show tonight. It was quite the guest list, and a lot of movers and shakers joined us on the program. They included Jim Poitras, head coach of the Lake Braddock Bruins after his team's big win over South County. Also, Madison coach Lenny Schultz after his squad knocked off Hayfield tonight. Broad Run coach Matt Griffiths after his team beat Tuscarora. It was Old Mill coach Chad McCormick joined us after their big win over Annapolis. Calvert head coach Rick Sneed joined us after their win over Lackey, while Episcopal head coach Pano Vulgaris joined us after their big win to clinch the IAC over Georgetown Prep. I'm Jeremy Huber. We'll be back next week and really through the rest of the playoffs. Take you up till, I believe, our last show, the Friday before the Virginia State Championship. So stay tuned for it all. We'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the district, Maryland, and Virginia. That's why it's on DMV Stream, and that's why it's the final drive. Again, I'm Jeremy Huber. We will see you next time.